Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to all of our panelists today, and a special hello to Norm. I am so happy that you could join us, and thanks for taking the time to Zoom in for this hearing. In a normal year, Norm, how long would it take you to ship one container from your farm to an international partner?
Well, thank you. It's been commented previously. It's been that efficiency that's made it possible for us. Normally, from example, Chapman, Nebraska to Tokyo, Japan was 37 days. And that's pretty good when you think about the distance, and we're able to do that quite efficiently and land products around the world and be competitive. Currently, there's two issues. One is the actual transit time now would be 60 to 90 days to get that product shipped. But the bigger problem is that it takes 2 to 3 months to get space on the ship. So the booking time isn't where we used to put it in and request 10 containers, Japan, Tokyo, and then we get a response, and in 2 weeks, the containers would be here. So it's that 2 months combined with the 2 months of shipping time that is often putting us 4, 5 months late from when the customer would, longer than what we enjoyed in the past. The most extreme case, which is interesting and appreciate this opportunity to share, but would be where you have to remind everyone that popcorn, along with many other foods, are perishable. And so you ship a container and you think on the way it's going to take 37 days. And at 90 days in Japan recently, they just said, take that back. We don't want that popcorn. That popcorn had made it all the way to the coast, and they were concerned enough about quality that we had to return, as painful as that was, as you can imagine, those containers all the way back to Chapman to be unloaded and reclaimed and checked and all those things. So the problem gets amplified even more when you're talking about perishable goods. So yeah, long answer to your question, but has went from a pretty dependable 37 days to 4 to 5 months.
And your business isn't unique in this, right? I mean, I'm hearing from ag producers all across Nebraska, all across this country, who first of all are concerned that they can't get containers in order to even export their products. But then you add in the time involved, and as you said, these are perishable goods. It's affecting all parts of agriculture. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I definitely agree. Preferred Popcorn is just one of many, many companies that are impacted, and of course, a lot of cases there's even larger amounts of grain and other ag products that are not being shipped, and then those sales are often lost forever because, like all of us, the end consumer is going to look elsewhere to get their product if they're not able to get it from us.
And Norm, I'd like to ask you, and also Mr. Doyle, when you were looking at the shipping problems you're having now, a big part of that is cost. You know, you've alluded to that. So how much of your shipping costs gone up this year? We'll start with you first, Norm.
Yes, well, our actual freight costs are up about 30% from a year ago, which is hard enough. And then, of course, there's additional cost in storing the product longer. And then ultimately, we've had a lot of demurrage costs. And then you have to work that out with the customer, who's going to pay that and who follows that, when really it's neither. But to answer your question directly, our export costs are up about 30%.
And Mr. Doyle?
Ours is a rather unique situation, or unique to some of the others. We are actually not freight responsible. Therefore, our supplier provides it to our dock. the way it impacts us is that we have already begun negotiations with them for when our contract expires in April of '22, and they have informed us that we should be expecting a price increase of about 20 to 25%. They have told us that, and we know that the raw material underlying that cost has not substantially increased as a raw material. It is going to be the logistics question that is going to drive the increase in cost. So we're expecting 20 to 25%.
Okay. And one last question for Norm. When you've talked about being a farmer, and agriculture, of course, is very important for the state of Nebraska. You're talking about delays that you have in your business, but what about the delays in equipment, fertilizer? When you add in everything on these delays, how's that impacting not just you, but obviously the entire economy there, the farm economy?
Yeah, good question. Well, as you've probably heard, the input costs for 22 are very high. Our fertilizer prices are up not just percentage points, but about 3 times as well as the cost of our pesticides that all farmers use. The most interesting thing in this year's negotiations, as we're talking about next year's input costs, where the co-ops are actually telling us, yes, you should buy ahead, yes, you should lock the price in, and additionally, you should probably come and get it and have it stored on your farm because it's going to be such a tight supply. So in 21, farmers did have adequate pesticides and fertilizers to produce the crop. It appears it's going to be 22 that it will be very impactful in the cost of production for farmers in the Midwest. So I think we've only seen the beginning of the inflationary impact of these transportation issues. They're not going to go away. It's been stated already. Personally, I think it's going to increase more and more as we go into next year and the years following.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Ranking Member Fischer. Senator Blumenthal, you are recognized for your questions.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.